Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Man, imagine being a beloved, two-time World Cup winning captain, like a literal national hero, and suddenly your job is hanging by a thread just because a rookie played three spectacular games.
Yeah, it sounds like absolute madness to anyone outside the sport.
Right, but in elite rugby, it's just Tuesday. So today, we are dissecting a really fascinating piece from Planet Rugby. It breaks down the intense debate surrounding Springboks captain Siya Kolisi and his starting spot for the 2027 World Cup.
Which is going to be in Australia, yeah.
Exactly. But before we get into the tactical weeds, please take a quick second to subscribe to Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description.
Definitely do that.
So, the core question we are unpacking today is Kolisi's role actually in jeopardy because of rising star Paul de Villiers, or is this just business as usual in the Springboks high-stakes ecosystem?
I mean, it's a great question.
It's kind of like replacing a seasoned wartime general or a highly successful CEO with a brilliant young intern who just knocked a massive presentation out of the park.
Yeah, or a young coder with incredibly fast tactical output, right?
But exactly. The coder is fast right now. But does he know how to keep morale from completely collapsing when the system crashes at 3 a.m.?
And that tension is exactly what makes this situation so compelling to study. I mean, the general has the legacy, the immense trust of the troops, the locker room gravity.
An intangible.
Right, the intangibles. But the coder just delivered undeniable game-changing results today. And in elite sports ecosystems, especially the one South Africa has built, today's results are often the only currency that matters.
Well, to understand why legends of the game are suddenly having to publicly defend Kolisi, we first have to look at what triggered this whole conversation, which is, of course, the explosive arrival of Paul de Villiers.
Oh, man. It wasn't just the fact that he played well either. It was the absolute crucible he was thrown into.
Right, a complete trial by fire.
Exactly. He stepped into the starting XV at the absolute 11th hour against England at Ellis Park because Kolisi had to withdraw with an injury.
Which is just crazy timing.
It is. Suddenly, this young former junior Bok is making his test debut on literally one of the biggest stages imaginable.
And for anyone listening who doesn't follow the sport religiously, making a debut at Ellis Park against England isn't just a tough game. You're facing one of the most physically punishing, bruising forward packs in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Plus, you're at high altitude where your lungs are just screaming for oxygen, and you have the weight of the entire nation bearing down on you.
It is an environment explicitly designed by nature and context to break inexperienced players. I mean, the atmospheric pressure alone exhausts you, let alone the English pack.
Yeah, but de Villiers didn't just survive it.
No, he completely dictated the pace of the game. And then he went on to star in 3 matches in South Africa, capping it all off with a man-of-the-match performance against Wales in Durban.
He was just an absolute menace out there.
Disrupting the opposition's rhythm at every single turn.
Which, inevitably caused the global rugby media to lose their collective minds. But the spark that really set off this powder keg came from Stuart Barnes.
Right, the ex-England fly-half and pundit on the Times of the Ruck podcast?
Yeah. He literally asked out loud, have we seen the end of Siya Kolisi as captain?
Which is a massive statement. I mean, he acknowledged Kolisi's legendary status, but essentially argued that nostalgia does not win test matches.
Nostalgia, wow. That's harsh.
Yeah, Barnes went on to ask if head coach Rassie Erasmus has found the man to take South Africa to the next level. He even compared young de Villiers to absolute Springbok legends like Ruben Kruger and Heinrich Brusso.
And for a rookie with only a few caps to be compared to Brusso, that's a massive statement about his tactical ceiling, right?
It really is. It speaks volumes about his physical mechanics.
Well, I actually have to stop you there because I strongly disagree with the premise Barnes is pushing. I get that the margins at the absolute top of the sport are razor thin, but leadership is not just a statistic you track on a spreadsheet.
That's a fair point.
I mean, if you drop a 2-time World Cup winning captain for a rookie, do you not risk completely fracturing the entire locker room?
You definitely do.
The data might say de Villiers is peaking physically, but the psychology of team dynamics says you absolutely do not bench the spiritual leader of your squad just because a new kid had 3 great games.
And you are hitting on the exact friction point of elite sports management right there.
Yeah.
Dropping a cultural pillar can absolutely cause a locker room revolt if handled poorly.
Exactly.
However, if we look at Barnes's comments, not as a malicious attack on Kolisi, but as an objective observation of the Springbok system, it kind of shifts the perspective.
How so?
Well, it is actually a testament to the sheer depth the Springboks have built. The fact that the talent pipeline is producing players who can instantly perform on the world stage, forcing us to even have this debate, it proves their developmental system is operating at peak efficiency.
I see. So you view the media narrative less as an indictment of Kolisi's physical decline and more as proof that a legitimate apex predator has entered the ecosystem.
Precisely. Which is exactly what a healthy team wants.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, this hyper-competitive what have you done lately narrative isn't actually coming from outside the house. It isn't just pundits drumming up drama.
Wait, it's not.
No, Rassie Erasmus has intentionally engineered this exact psychological environment from the top down.
Okay, before we break down how Rassie actually pulls off that psychological tightrope, this is the perfect time to remind you to subscribe to Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description.
Yes, definitely hit that link.
Also, head down to the comments right now. We really want to know where you stand on this de Villiers versus Kolisi debate so far. Let us know who you would pick to start.
I'm highly curious to read those comments, honestly, because this next layer of the ecosystem makes the choice incredibly difficult.
Right, we're talking about the insights from Victor Matfield.
Exactly. One of the greatest locks in rugby history, a position that requires immense tactical intelligence and physical enforcement in the second row of the scrum.
And Matfield recently unpacked this whole dynamic on the Rivals podcast with Sir John Kirwan.
He did. Kirwan basically pressed Matfield on whether the Springbok veterans are genuinely under pressure or if Rassie is just playing a game of chess.
Like resting his guys for bigger matches against the All Blacks while giving the rookies some screen time?
Exactly. And Matfield shut down that resting theory immediately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said, and I quote, "The thing with Rassie is that everyone is under pressure. If you don't perform, you won't play the next week. Doesn't matter who you are."
Wow. So it is literally like an intense, never-ending game of musical chairs.
That's a perfect way to put it.
The music stops every single Saturday at the final whistle, and it just does not matter how many gold medals are sitting in your trophy case back home. Your past achievements absolutely do not guarantee you a seat when the music starts up again.
No, they don't. You have to earn the physical right to sit down every single time.
That sounds exhausting.
It is, but that is exactly how it operates in practice. The article highlights how ruthless this is by pointing out the high-profile veterans who have fallen out of favor in recent seasons.
Yeah, we are talking about foundational pieces of the 2019 World Cup team here.
Right. Guys like Faf de Klerk, Vincent Koch, Bungin Bonambi, Willie LaRue. These aren't fringe players.
No, these are giants of the modern game who just found themselves without a chair.
Exactly.
But here is the psychological paradox that I can't quite wrap my head around.
What's that?
Well, the Springboks are famous globally for their deep, almost familial team unity. They talk constantly about playing for the nation, playing for each other.
Right, the brotherhood.
Yes. So how does a coach foster that deep sense of brotherhood while simultaneously threatening every single player's livelihood and legacy every single Saturday?
And that is the genius of Rassie's meritocracy.
Oh.
Because in most corporate or sporting environments, constant job insecurity creates paranoia, backstabbing, selfishness.
Yeah, it gets toxic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Rassie frames the pressure entirely around service to the collective team.
Yeah.
Matfield actually provided some brilliant historical context here. He noted that back in his playing days, there were fixtures on the calendar that weren't perceived as big games. Because the fear of losing your spot wasn't constantly hovering over you, human nature dictated that complacency would sneak in.
And the collective performance would drop. I guess if you know your job is completely safe, you might only give 90% against a lower-ranked opponent just to save your body for the finals.
Right, which creates bad habits over time. Rassie's system eliminates that complacency entirely because the meritocracy is absolute and transparent.
So the players accept the ruthless musical chairs because they trust that favoritism doesn't exist.
Spot on. When everyone is held to the exact same brutal standard, it actually builds profound trust. It ensures that the 15 men taking the pitch are giving absolute maximum effort.
Which is why they have become such an unstoppable powerhouse on the world stage.
Exactly.
Which brings us back to the ultimate collision. We have a system where legacy offers zero protection, and we have a brilliant rookie in Paul de Villiers who is undeniably delivering tangible results right now.
The unstoppable force and the immovable object.
Right. So given those facts, how does Victor Matfield justify his prediction that Kolisi, along with fellow veteran Eben Etzebeth, will remain absolutely vital to the squad for the 2027 World Cup?
Well, he justifies it by looking beyond the raw statistics and dissecting the mechanics of true impact. With Etzebeth, Matfield's defense is fairly straightforward.
Which is?
When Etzebeth is in form, his sheer physical dominance and line-out intelligence put him in a class of his own.
Yeah.
But his defense of Kolisi requires us to understand the invisible gravity of a generational captain.
Now, Matfield compared Kolisi to some massive historical figures, right? He specifically pointed to Sean Fitzpatrick, Francois Pienaar, and John Smith.
Yes, iconic captains who constantly faced intense media pressure regarding their own individual form as they aged.
And they faced that pressure because, purely on a technical level, there might have been another player in the country who was slightly faster or stronger at their specific position on any given Tuesday.
Exactly. But coaches kept picking Fitzpatrick, Pienaar, and Smith because of a highly specific mechanism.
What's that?
They elevated the cognitive and physical output of the 14 guys around them. The entire team simply functioned at a higher frequency when they were on the pitch.
It is the multiplier effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, a rookie might give you a baseline of 10 out of 10 for his own individual performance, but a captain like Kolisi might perform at an 8 out of 10 while simultaneously making 5 other players jump from a 7 to a 9.
Right, so the aggregate score of the team is just way higher with the veteran out there.
That makes a lot of sense.
And Matfield was careful to point out that Kolisi's value isn't just motivational locker room speeches or intangibles either. He has specific on-field mechanics that do not always grab the flashy headlines.
Right, like his work rate.
Exactly, a massive, unrelenting work rate. He is a highly effective ball carrier, exceptionally good at making hard yards in tight traffic, especially for a player of his size.
And you cannot talk about Kolisi without talking about his defensive reads. Matfield specifically highlighted that unbelievable try-line tackle Kolisi made against the British and Irish Lions.
Oh, man. That tackle is the perfect encapsulation of his value.
It was insane.
It really was. It was not just a display of good tackling technique. It was an extraordinary cognitive read of the offensive line, combined with sheer physiological determination to stop a try that seemed mathematically inevitable.
He absorbed the momentum perfectly.
Yes. Those are the plays that break the opponent's spirit and galvanize your own squad in ways a simple stat sheet simply cannot capture.
But Matfield also threw a fascinating wrinkle into this prediction, didn't he?
He did. He theorized that while Kolisi will be absolutely crucial in 2027, he might remain captain but actually play significantly fewer minutes.
Which forces us to completely rethink how rugby is managed at the international level.
It does.
And this is where I need you to explain the mechanics to me, because traditionally, the captain is the Iron Man warrior who leads from the front for all 80 minutes.
Historically, yes.
So how does a captain effectively lead a team through the crucible of a World Cup from the sidelines for half the match? Doesn't sitting on the bench intrinsically diminish his authority over the squad?
I mean, in a traditional old-school setup, yes, it probably would. But we have to remember, we are talking about a team managed by Rassie Erasmus.
Right.
This is the man who popularized the bomb squad.
Oh, the strategy of putting heavily specialized, impact-driven forwards on the replacements bench to come on in the second half and completely overpower a tired opponent.
Exactly. So in this highly specialized ecosystem, leading from the bench changes the captain's role from a physical tone setter to a strategic closer.
Oh, I see. So instead of trying to match a 22-year-old's kinetic energy for the first 50 minutes, Kolisi comes on exactly when bodies are battered, lungs are burning, and the tactical game plan needs extreme mental discipline to avoid penalties.
You nailed it. Matfield pointed out that Kolisi and de Villiers are stylistically built for entirely different phases of the game.
How so?
Well, Kolisi isn't an out-and-out traditional fetcher. A fetcher is a player whose primary tactical job is to hover over the tackle, get their hands on the ball in the ruck, and either steal it or slow it down while absorbing massive hits from the opposition.
And de Villiers is exceptional at that.
He is. He operates like a scalpel at the breakdown.
Meaning you can start the rookie to cause absolute chaos, drain the opponent's energy, and disrupt their game plan early on.
Yes. And then, when the game opens up and fatigue sets in, you deploy Kolisi.
That is brilliant.
Because leading a team in the final 30 minutes of a tight test match requires immense composure, referee management, and tactical execution under severe physical distress.
Wow.
So Matfield's ultimate point is that Rassie will optimize the tools he has. Kolisi's gravity during the week in training, his ability to unify the squad's focus, combined with 30 minutes of hyper-focused execution on the pitch, might be far more valuable to winning a World Cup than forcing him to play 80 minutes just because he wears the captain's armband.
It completely redefines modern leadership. I mean, it breaks the old mold of the Iron Man captain, proving that a veteran leader's strategic gravity and a young star's explosive tactical output can
They
coexist.
don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Right, they can actually be layered to make the ecosystem significantly stronger and more adaptable.
It is an absolute masterclass in utilizing the right psychological and physical tools at the exact right moment, rather than relying on how things have traditionally been done.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating, broader concept to consider, whether you are managing a sports team, leading a corporate division, or just working within a group project.
Oh, for sure.
What is ultimately more valuable to the success of the mission? Is it the pure, undeniable data and output of a rising star who is peaking physically right now? Or is it the invisible, unifying gravity of a veteran leader who might not top the stat sheets on their own, but possesses the unique ability to make everyone else around them 10% better?
It is the ultimate balancing act for any organization. I mean, navigating when to rely on raw statistical output versus when to trust in the psychological multiplier effect of leadership is exactly what separates good managers from legendary ones.
We would absolutely love to hear your take on this balance. Please drop into the comments and share your thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, who do you believe should be starting for the Springboks when the 2027 World Cup rolls around?
Are you firmly Team Kolisi? Are you Team de Villiers? Or do you see a rotation that utilizes both? Let us know. And before we go, we want to give you one final reminder to please subscribe to Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description. We have so many more incredible breakdowns coming your way.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.